welcome back to Devils United for another player profile. With me today, I've got Joe. Joe, how are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
Very well, thank you. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Good. Pleasure being here. Ready to discuss Shon Bernard.
Yeah, Shon Bernard. I think he's a fantastic player from our youth. But how was he for Hull?
How was he? Incredible. He was fantastic. Only thing that let him down at times was he got caught ball watching a little bit. But he's young. That'll come. His experience as he gets older, as he plays more football, that will get rid of that. But really quick, very strong, not scared to go in for a tackle. And it's a shame in the second half of the season he didn't really get a look in. He was pretty much permanently a bench player under Shota Arveladze because Alfie Jones came back and Sean McLaughlin was excellent. And there's no way, absolutely no way, that Jacob Greaves gets dropped. He's next level. The boy is destined for the Premier League. Is Jacob Greaves, whether it's with us or whoever it may be, he's destined for the Premier League. So it was a shame for Shon. And then I spoke to him at the end of the season and asked him, look, where are you coming back next year? What are you doing next year? He says, I want to be on loan. The plan is to go out on loan again to the Championship. It just won't be here, which I understand because he wasn't playing. But again, a bit of a shame. Lovely guy, though. Speaking to some of the players like I do, you can't go wrong with Shon. Quality guy, really nice guy. Yeah, good player as well.
Mm-hmm. That's what I've noticed a lot from our youth academy, especially doing these player profiles, is how down to earth they've been with the fans, and that's something that you do like, especially in a football player, because you see a lot now who just walk past a lot of the fans who doesn't take the time of day. So to see that from the academy is just great representation for the club as well, for a Manchester United's point of view.
I mean, I'm inclined to agree. There's a culture at City anyway, and it's been like this ever since Steve Bruce was manager, and I'm sure it was before him as well. And it was only Marco Silva who booked that trend. Players, they've got to get their own way to the game. None of this go all on a coach together and we'll stay in a hotel the night before. It's right. You get yourself to the game by this time. If you're not there, then you're in a bit of bother and I'm nicking all the money that's in your wallet.
Mm-hmm.
And that has its pros and cons because traffic and all that sort of stuff can make players late. I mean, we had an incident where Bristol City's bus on Saturday when we played them, it broke down just outside Scunthorpe as they were coming across from the hotel just outside the airport. And they all had to get taxis in, and Nigel Pearson and a lot of the players didn't arrive until just before 2:00. So it has its pros and cons, and then all that sort of stuff. But it works well, and it gets autograph hunters and stuff. It fills that void of what you wouldn't get at a lot of Premier League clubs, where you won't get to meet the players, you won't get to do all this sort of stuff. And there's a lot that go out and meet them early, and it helps that as they do that, you get to sort of know them as people as well, because they know your face, they're happy to talk to, all that sort of thing. And yeah, Shon didn't. Shon was always there in plenty of time because he knew, look, there's always this chance, there's going to be a lot. Make my way through.
It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Before I go on to the next question, just going to say hello there to my dad who's in the chat, and hey there as well to Rava. Thank you both for coming in. Yes, so I can see Shon, he did make 26 appearances in the Champions League for Hull. What would you say was his best game as a Hull player?
Now, Champions League, overshooting it a lot there.
Championship. What am I thinking? Champions League? Not in
it. Let me have a look which ones he played in quickly, because I'm pretty sure any of the last sort of 10 games there wasn't really much from. As far as I can remember, His last start for us was in January against Swansea when we won 2-0, first game under Shota Avaladze. And it was then there was Preston after that. God, I'm forgetting loads. There was Preston, which he played in, but then he didn't play in the derby game at Pride Park. And then after that, he was not in the team. But he had a very, very good game against Blackburn on the 19th of January at home. That game was rearranged from Boxing Day, and there was a lot of Twitter arguments between City fans and Blackburn fans who were pretty much ready for the turn off the M62 to go into Hull. And then the game got cancelled because we had a lot of COVID cases. First game under the new ownership. Shon plays, let's be honest, this is the key thing that sticks out. Somebody plays a pretty suicidal back pass. Shon Bernard almost lets a player, I think it was Reda Kadra through for Blackburn, just sweeps up. He swept up, recovered really well. Solid. Then the FA Cup game against Everton, he was really, really impressive there. Defensively, we were very good against Everton, even though we conceded the 3 goals, which I think speaks volumes for who played that day. Greaves, McLaughlin, and Shon himself as well. There was never a game in which he scored for us, sadly, but he was. It's difficult to pick out one game because because he was so consistent, so solidly. He just head down, got on with his job. It worked. He came in the team when we went on a nice winning run, and there we go.
What? I know he's like a centre back. Can he play as a full back as well, or?
I think there was an instance where he did play as a full back. Actually, just bear with me. So I'm pretty sure. I'm just looking through all my notes from last season, trying to pick the game out. I'm pretty sure there was one. I'm pretty sure. Like I say, I couldn't tell you which game it was, but I'm pretty sure there was a game where he had to do a job on the right side. I think, it was. I think it was Blackpool. Blackpool at home. Louis Coyle at right back got sent off in the 80th minute, and then I think Shon was brought on for Andy Cannon just to cover for that area. But predominantly centre back. He's got the height for a centre. We were talking about this about Lissandro Martinez and the stuff that people have been saying about his height before we went on air. He's tall, strong. Centre back is centre back's the one.
Gotta quickly run through some of the comments because I know there's a couple of questions as well. How can Bernard be a regular for United? United, has Ravius quoted it. It's a tough one because just as Joe has touched on, he wants another loan deal, so he's not gonna be ready for United for a while. But
plus, you think as well. I think looking from the outside looking in, I think Mengi's already ahead of him in the pecking order as well, because he's got the extra year on Bernard as Mengi, and I think that's what's pushed him up a little bit.
There's Axel Tuanzebe as well, who could play as the centre back role. We haven't even got rid of any of our centre backs anyway, so there's still ones that are already there, like Eric Bayer.
Tuanzebe's been about for years now, it seems. How old is he?
Oh my god, I'm literally thinking how old. Axel Tuanzebe, he
24.
Yeah, 24.
It seems as though he'd be a lot older than that.
Because
he's been around for a long time.
He came through into the first team properly in around 2015.
2015, yeah.
And he was involved during our Europa League campaign when we won that year.
Yeah, age of 17, he was named on the subs bench for a game against Crystal Palace in the Premier League.
Yeah.
That was the first time he was a member of the matchday squad. And he's been at your academy since he was 8 years old.
Yeah. You'd think he was a lot older thinking of it.
He's been about since 2015. 17 is quite the age to break through.
Mm-hmm. And he's had a few long spells as well himself, and Aston Villa and Napoli as another one.
And Shon as well. To say, he was at Chelsea before he was with you. So he's been about the top teams.
Mm-hmm. That's a good thing as well to have that good experience, because I know Chelsea's academy, I would say it's up there with one of the best academies in the Premier League as well.
But it's also quite a cutthroat one, because because there's such a big pool of players that Chelsea seem to bring through to the first team every year. So you can either be in one of those and be the odd one that makes it, or you can be in that group, be farmed out on loan after loan after loan to Vitesse Arnhem, to Vitesse Arnhem, to Vitesse Arnhem, and probably Vitesse Arnhem again. So get learning Dutch if you're in the Chelsea academy. Or you can just not make it through there at all. And Deshaun was in that pool and joined up with your academy when he was 2017, when he'd have been 16.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's still come through quite well for Manchester United, considering too. He's managed to have Salford on loan as well, and moving up to then the Championship.
See, that's another thing as well. The worry when we signed him was, right, he looks all right, does this guy? He's very highly rated by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Man United. But it's a big step. League 2 to the Championship is a big step. League 2 to League 1, not much. The level there is very similar. The top teams in League 2 can easily be solid mid-table in League 1. That's a typical thing that happens to a lot of promoted teams, especially the ones that win the league and do it convincingly and invest well in the summer window between each season. But League 2 to the Championship is a big step. And then the Championship to the Premier League is it's quite a climb. It's not just one step on the ladder. It's a good 2 or 3. If we're using like a visual ladder analogy, it's quite the step. But he's got the quality to do it in the future. Definitely, I just think a little bit more experience, because, like we were saying, your centre back ranks: Martinez, Varane, Maguire,
Lindelof, Bayer. Phil Jones is still about.
Nice. Then you've got Lindelof, Bailly, Jones, Maguire, Martinez, Varane,
and then there's Zaber, and then there's
Mendy.
Yeah, that's all I can think of off the top.
Then there's Deshaun. There's that Fish as well.
Yeah, Will Fish is there as well. Yeah.
Will Fish, Deshaun, and I can't think of any more. But just thought, actually, Tom Huddlestone, I'm going to switch it on you now, player coach for the academy.
It was an interesting one. I wasn't expecting Tom Huddersfield to be the coach, to be honest. I was looking at it because I don't know too much about him. I know that I know he's had a former player too. I think it's kind of something that you do really need. You need an ex-player to be in the coach, as well as experienced coaches, just so you've got that experience there for the players, so the players understand it from his point of view of what it's like, to train from his point of view, in my opinion. But I was looking at it because I wanted a player coach myself. I wanted like Robin van Persie as the player coach. I thought he would have worked really well. But I still think any player coach is a great experience. And I know he's a former Hull player, if I'm not mistaken.
With us last year, and he was with us in the Premier League as well. And he's gone to be a player coach with your academy.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I wanted him to do here. Because we've brought in, because the plan was always to bring in so many new players, a lot of which have never played in the Championship before. Ozan Tufan never played in the Championship before, although he was in the Premier League on loan with Watford last year. Cynic, new winger, never played in the Championship before. 2 new strikers that we've signed, never played in the Championship before. His experience of knowing the league, played with us when we got promoted in it, played with us in the Premier League, a player who knows the league, because he not just played with us, he played with Derby in there. I think he'd have been on loan with Wolves when they were in the Championship. And he also knows the club, knows the standards from when Steve Bruce was here, from when Marco Silva was here, and also mixing that with the new tactical style that we had, that Shota Arveladze brings us, somebody in there to help these players adapt to, 1, living in England, 2, playing in the Championship. I think he'd have been brilliant. And then when he said last game of the season, when Shota Arveladze did his post-match interview and said, "Yeah, this was Tom's last game," I brought him on to say goodbye to everyone. Tom says, "I didn't know about that, but thanks for the heads up." So it was quite bitter how it ended, how he clearly wasn't informed that was going to be outed. But yeah, I'd have loved for him to stay on, because he's still a quality footballer as well at Championship level, even though, because he was never the quickest player when we had him in his prime, was Tom Huddlestone. Never, ever the quickest player. He's 35 now. When he first signed for us in 2013, when he'd have been, 26? Yeah, 26. He was
near enough hitting his prime, wasn't he, at that point? It's prime level, prime years, isn't it?
We had him for 4 years. He was never the quickest player, but his passing range, his vision of the game, the way he saw where the game was going, that still existed. Long shots, incredible. Absolutely incredible. I'm gutted we didn't get to see a Tom Huddlestone goal last season when he played for us, because we were so close, and he hit one from 35 yards. It just hit the post against Peterborough. Gutting. It was gutting. And we had a penalty in that game as well. It was our only penalty of the season. How we only had 1 penalty last entire season, I have no idea. But he came off injured in the game. And had he been on the pitch in the second half when the penalty was awarded, he should have stuck Josh McGuinness in the nearest skip and took it himself. Because McGuinness put it into row double B in the south stand. How you manage it, you can find the clip of it on YouTube. He just hit it. Goals here, balls there. He hit it. It was ridiculous. It was it's the worst penalty I've ever watched.
Wow.
But yeah, gutted we didn't get to see a Tom Huddlestone goal. But he'll be good for your young players, definitely.
You know, speaking of Tom now, I think that's the kind of player that he would want as a coaching staff, because I always talk about highly of players who have got good IQ on the pitch. Because I even look at the likes of Juan Mata for United, Matic, who recently went. They weren't also the quickest players, but the IQ levels were better, for me, arguably better than every other player on that pitch for United. They're always one step ahead, and I think to have someone who's so football intelligent in the coaching staff, that's also going to play a win situation, especially for the younger players at Manchester United.
Can't not agree. Having someone like we've just got Andy Dawson, club legend, as one of our new coaches, promoted him from the academy. Club legend. His brother Michael played for us as well. And it's safe to say Andy's a lot more well-liked than Michael is round here now, definitely. Lovely guy was Michael Dawson, but now he's doing punditry. He just seems to not, whenever he's covering our games, they pick him, ex-Hull. Just doesn't seem to care. That's nice of him. But anyway, Andy was a very, very good footballer. Considering he was a left back, he was very, very good at free kicks and stuff. Scored a very, almost, I correct myself, scored a very nice free kick against Tottenham once upon a time.
Oh.
And I think he scored one against Arsenal. And I think someone like that, club legend, knows the club, worked with the academy, perfect sort of addition. But yeah, like I say, I'd have loved to have kept Tom.
Looks like we've got a great addition on our hands, which I'm looking forward to seeing more of.
They still promote him to the first team as well. He's only 35, got time on his side.
Very true. Very, very true. Who knows? Maybe one day, depending on what Ten Hag is wanting, he might want to promote him one day.
I was needed as a player.
Oh, as a player? I think we might even need him as a player for depth.
Squad depth, that's all it is.
I suppose you've seen Peter Cech come out of retirement, so...
Well, yeah, he got registered in the Champions League for Chelsea, didn't he? So...
My dad has a question for you, Joe. Would you take Shon back on loan or buy him full time?
I would absolutely take him. He said about halfway through last season, he was playing consistently, playing some really good stuff on the run up to January. Him and Nathan Baxter, who he had on loan from Chelsea. Both of them were very, very were and still are very, very popular amongst the fans. And both of them said, "Look, we wouldn't mind coming back here. We like the place. We enjoy playing for the football club. We enjoy living in the area. We've got Nathan Baxter back, but then what hurt things with Shon and that push was he didn't end up playing. And if we went in for him, I don't think Shon would want to come back knowing that he didn't play in the second half of last season very much. And that isn't going to change because we're only bringing in more depth and getting stronger. And we've got a plethora of young centre-backs. Andy Smith gone out on loan again. Jevon Mills won, I think it was some sort of like apprentice good footballer, good worker of the year award in the EFL, something like that. Got Jake Leake, Jack Leckie, Alfie Taylor. I can go on. So it was always going to be tough for Shon if he was to come back to get in the team, especially when he wasn't getting in a weaker one last season.
I know you did mention about him wanting to go on loan again to the Championship. What Championship club would you personally say would suit him the best?
That's a very, very good question. That is a very, very good question. Burnley have lost a lot of centre-backs. I'm trying to see, who was it who played in their last game at centre-back? Howard Bellis and Charlie Taylor. Charlie Taylor's not a centre-back, so I think Burnley could have been and could still be a good loan move for him. It's a team that's going to be up there, prove himself. Vincent Kompany is the manager, legendary centre-back for your cross-city rivals. I think that's a good move. Then there's also like teams. I think teams that are going to be up there, definitely, because he had his... someone says in chat, Ben Mee and Tarkowski. Ben Mee has joined Brentford and Tarkowski has joined Everton. Plus, I think they've lost all sorts of players, to be fair to them, Burnley. Because I know Cornet is going to West Ham. That's come out today. They've lost McNeil, lost Tarkowski. They've lost Weghorst because he made it very clear he wasn't going to play in the Championship. Centre-back wise, Howard Bellis on loan from Man City. Other than that, there's not really anything. They've still got Kevin Long.
They're quite weak, aren't they, at the moment in that defence? Because they've lost so many players. They lost on was it Collins? They sold him for 20 million or only made a £5 million profit and only had him a year.
Yeah.
They've lost far too many players.
They've lost a lot of players, but for Shon, definitely someone like a Burnley, a team that's going to be at the sharp end, fighting for automatic promotion, fighting for the playoffs. That would be a good move because he's had his season where he adapts to the Championship, and he adapted very well, very quickly, and kept us in the league. And he's definitely got the ability to push into that top half comfortably, as Shon, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know as well. I like Coffee's mentioned about Aaron Lennon. Has he gone now?
Yeah, released.
Yeah, I thought he did. He left on a free or something, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, that's a bit shame, really, isn't it? Knowing that he was another one who had a lot of people had like high expectations of, because he came through at such a young age, didn't he, to football.
Original Theo Walcott.
You could say that, that's for sure.
There was a generation of young players, wasn't there, who came through very, very early on. There was Aaron Lennon, Theo Walcott, Jack Wilshere, all of which have now moved on and are well past their prime, and in Wilshere's case, retired.
Yeah, Ravel as well, who won us the Youth Cup with Jesse Lingard. And
Ravel Morrison.
Yeah, he was another one I think a lot of people had high expectations of. And
with Ravel, though, the issue wasn't achieving the potential, because he played for Derby last season.
Yeah.
Second home game of the season, I'll correct myself. He ripped us to bits. So he's still got the quality, but it was his attitude that let him down, that stopped him from showing that at a big club. And that's the shame for Ravel Morrison, because he ripped us to bits. Let's be real. And that Derby team, had they not had that points deduction, they'd have comfortably stayed up last season.
It was a shame for Derby, really, to be honest, that they got relegated, because they did put all the fight up, and knowing that they literally, it was like the last couple of weeks of the league, they ended up getting relegated. So you could tell how much fight and how much passion they put into that game.
They stuck it out for a long, long time, and for a long, long time, it looked as though they were going to stay up. But then they had a really, really poor run, which just put the put the nail in the coffin, really. Final nail in the coffin.
Yeah. I'm going to quickly go through some of the comments. Hey there, Dara. Hope you're well. Team you want to see on Sunday: De Gea, Delova, Ram Martinez, Malacia, Fred, Donny, Bruno, Sancho, Rashford, Garnacho. Possibly. I don't think all of them will come through. I don't think Garnacho will. I think Donny will come off the bench, maybe. But I think Eriksen might start, in my personal opinion. But it's still a strong lineup you've produced. Ravi has a question for you, Joe. What is Bernard's strengths and weaknesses in defence?
Shon's strengths and weaknesses. I mentioned it earlier on. It was one of the first things I said. Ball watching. Ball watching. Too often he got caught ball watching and let players get in behind or whatever. But he had the pace and the strength. So strength is one of his big strengths in a weird way. He managed to sort of half recover, and he had Jacob Greaves, and he had two solid goalkeepers behind him, either Matt Ingram or Nathan Baxter during the season. But yeah, definitely got caught ball watching a lot. Got caught ball watching a hell of a lot.
Well, I know there's some defenders who's good with long passes and stuff. Was Bernard one of them who could do that?
Not really. He's not one who'd show the long range passes off too much. If any of the centre backs were going to do the big diagonal crossfield balls, it was Jacob Greaves. And a lot of the time, they went straight out of play. But channeling his inner, well, Greaves is also very good at what Harry Maguire used to do for us. Under Marco Silva, Harry Maguire just used to have the ball at feet and charge. He was very, very good at that. I'm not sure how much you see of that at Man United, but it used to just be a case of, right, if Maguire's on the ball and wants to run with it into the other half, he's not getting tackled. He's not getting tackled until someone jockeys him out wide and blocks whatever he does next. And Greaves likes doing that, charging forward, good with the ball at feet. But the long range passing, it was all right in League One, and the odd few did work out. But then we stopped playing with wingers, and it went straight out of play every time.
Not good then. Hey there, Static. Hope you're well. Thank you for coming in. Thank you as well, Dara, for the nice words. It means a lot. Hey there, I like coffee. I hope you're well. Thank you for coming in. I like coffees. That's why you're called old Grandpa Joe.
Long story. I won't bore you with it.
Phil Jones equals baller. He is a baller.
He is.
He's got more passion than any other Manchester United player. That's for sure.
He's entertaining to watch on the football pitch as well, for one reason or another.
Well, yeah, I guess so. But when we had that FA Cup game, he was literally the only player on that pitch who put that fight up. Like, you've seen everyone else put their head down, and he was there jumping with excitement, so happy because he's played his first game since January 2020, and that was against Tranmere Rovers.
God.
January 2020, and then he played again. I think it was around January 2022.
God, didn't Sir Alex once describe him as like the next Vidic or the next Rio Ferdinand or something like that?
He did, yes, and he wanted, Sir Alex, a Varane and Phil Jones partnership. That's what he wanted as a manager.
God.
And his wish came true during the FA Cup.
Well, took him a while. Took him a while to get that wish, but
he got it. He got it 9 years later. 9 years later, he got it. Hey there, bath time with Vaughn. Hope you're well. COVID-free, that's great. Glad that you are. I like coffee. Said that he likes your room.
I had it done in February, so it's clearly worked.
Yeah, a lot of people. Hey there to Matt from Football United TV. Happy Friday to you. Hope you're well. Thank you for coming in. Darren said, I think Jones may have been one of the best players we ever had. No matter what, at the age of 21, he's always going to be a phenomenal player. I think he could play anywhere on the pitch. He has such a massive influence with his instinct and read the game. Yeah, I agree. I think he could even do well as a defensive midfielder, to be honest. So I'd like to try him there one day.
Quotation marks on there, so that makes me think.
It was said.
Is that a Sir Alex? Is that what Sir Alex said?
Yeah.
At 21, when did he sign for Man United?
That was Sir Alex's quote. Yeah. We had high expectations of him back when we signed him. And he's still one of the only players to win the Premier League with us who's still remaining.
He signed in 2011, so that would have made him...
He's been here 11 years.
He's 30 now. Yeah, he'd have been...
30 now, so he would have been
19.
19 when we signed him.
God. Yeah, that was Sir Alex's quote. Yeah, I've seen the comment now. Better than Maguire every day of the week. And don't slander Harry Maguire. There's a Hull City fan here. I only remember him in black and amber scoring a brilliant header against Middlesbrough.
And you had Andy Robertson as well.
Robbo, yeah. God. Where did those days go?
Yeah. all the
Coming
great,
back.
all
We're
your
on the way
great
back.
players go. Don't let it go in the end, don't we? And then move on and stuff, which is a shame. Happens to
Well,
everyone.
we just let them all go at once. That was the problem.
Mm-hmm.
We let Jakupovic, Maguire, Robertson, Huddlestone, Livermore, Snodgrass, Nias. We let so many players that we had on loan or permanently go within 6 months of each other.
That's not good at all.
And then Bowen, Grzycki all both went on the same day, and that got us relegated to League One. Thank you. And then Keane's gone this summer. Keane Lewis Potter gone to Brentford this summer, but
He did.
But we're a different club now. We've got new owners, and all of that money is going to be reinvested somewhere in some way or some form. Because we can't put all the initial 16 million into the playing squad. That simply won't work. Because you think, what can that get you? That can get you so many good players, but how are we going to pay the wages? That'll help the club with FFP. It'll help the club pay the wages of the new players we're bringing in, who are on a lot higher than what we're used to over recent years at this football club. So it'll all go to a good place. It won't just buy a new couple of Lamborghinis for rehab a lamb like it would have done, because, well, yeah, that's where the Bowen money went.
Vaughn has a question for you and said, did you know Robertson had the ability to become a world-class player when he was at Hull, of course?
Well, the thing with Robertson was he was always very good going forward. You can see the shades of Hull City Robertson when he's playing for Liverpool now. The way he gets forward, his early balls into the box, he was always very good at that. But defensively, he'd get caught out a lot. He'd get caught too far up the pitch, or he'd be caught napping or something like that. And what Jurgen Klopp's done is he's kept that attacking side to him by still allowing him to push forward and doing what he's been historically good at. But defensively, he has brought him on leaps and bounds. Leaps and bounds. He's incredible now. He's absolutely incredible.
Dara said, Hull reminds me of League of Ireland. Every time a good player is discovered, all the big teams abroad taken away from us. Impossible to grow our league.
Having said that, come on, Shamrock Rovers and St Pat's have a team in the group stage of you. Oh, nice. Yeah, that was under the Alams ownership. We've got our beautiful set of tax now. Got Doner Kebabs on the concourse. I'm not kidding. We've brought Doner Kebabs on the concourse. Adjun's spending money. He's got a Hull City plane. He's got his own private plane with the Hull City logo on it. Our new sponsor has got a full plane in Hull City colours. Yeah, airline company. But apparently we needed to change our name to grow the club worldwide. All right, then. All right, Asim. All right.
Well, touching on Hull, now the season has started. Currently in second. I know there's only one game in, but
stop the league now.
Yeah, stop the league. We're promoted.
Just give us the trophy.
You've got Preston, like as you mentioned, backstage, so fingers crossed you get that win, and you may potentially be top of the table if Millwall loses. But I don't think we want to stop that count. I don't think we want Millwall back in the Premier League.
Hey, don't be saying that.
I don't think it'll go well, that's for sure. What's your expectations for Hull this season? What would you like for Hull to be in the league?
What would be a successful season? Interesting. Win the league. No, I'm kidding. I think this season it's a season of transition. We've brought in a fleet of new players. We've brought in. Oh God, let me think. There's so many. We've got Baxter back on loan. Figueiredo from Nottingham Forest on a free at centre back. Keeping hold of Jacob Greaves at centre back as well as things stand, which is very, very good. Jean-Michel Seri from Fulham in central midfield. Ozan Tufan from Fenerbahce in central midfield. We've kept hold. Got Syed Manesh permanently after activating his loan. Who else have we brought in? God, Estupinian and Tete for the two new strikers. We've brought in a lot, and then we've replaced Keane Lewis Potter with Dokan Cynic. So how many is that? Figueiredo, Tufan, Baxter, Seri, Syed Manesh, Estupinian, Cynic, Tete. So that's 8. And then we've got a young kid called Vaughan Coville, who we've brought in from Forest Green, who was on trial with us last season and looked incredible when I watched him for the 23s. And he's gone straight. He was signed meant to be for the academy and for the under 23s, but he's gone straight into the first team. And I think that says a lot about the lad. Then we've brought in another young striker, a young centre half. We're bringing in a young goalkeeper from Tottenham who's just been released. And we're also bringing in an attacking midfielder from a team called Hatayspor in Turkey, a team called Hatayspor in Turkey. We signed a deal. He was pictured at the stadium doing his announcement photos or whatever, signed the contract, goes into training before he's been announced. Boom, hamstring.
Not good at all. That's the last thing you want.
We're initially thinking, right, 3 weeks. Oh well, it's only 3 weeks. He'll be back before the start of the season. Setback, out till Christmas.
Oh, that is an absolute poo.
We've not even announced him. But we've not announced him yet. But he's been pictured in the city centre getting his hair cut. And he rocked up to a pre-season game against Leicester wearing a full Hull City tracksuit with a leg brace. And then he was at our first game of the season as well at home to Bristol City. So he's a Hull City player, but they just haven't announced him.
How come you've not announced him yet? Is there any particular reason?
I think it was just... Right, because he was out of contract, I think we didn't announce any signings before the 1st of July so that all the contracts could be run down and stuff like that. Whereas, because Figueiredo was done, Syed Manesh was done, Traore was done. But then I think what must have happened is they did all the photos and then he got injured. So then they thought, right, well, let's see how this goes for now. And then they got the setback and out till Christmas. So they must just think, right, let's not bog the fans down by announcing a player who's not going to play for 3 months. But let's wait until, I think what they'll do is either wait until deadline day, if we've done all our business, and then you can market a deadline day signing, or they'll just announce him first few days of January when he's back fit. That's what I think will happen. And then we're working on a defender. We're working on a number 10 to replace George Honeyman, who we let go to Millwall because he didn't. We offered him 2 new contracts. He didn't take either of them. And then we're after someone else as well. David Shoglu from Brighton, not Brighton.
Brentford.
Brentford, sorry.
Yeah, that'd be great signing.
But that all depends on can they get a replacement because they've just let Marcus Force go to Middlesbrough.
I think it was a wrong move.
Who, by the way, was dreadful for us when we had him on loan in the second half of last season. But you watch, he'll go to Middlesbrough now and score 20 goals because that's the way that luck works.
I think he's a good player. I personally wouldn't have got rid of him if I was Brentford. He couldn't get that look in just simply because of Ivan Toney.
Well, he's 22 still, isn't he? Which is weird because he looks a lot older.
And he's already a Finland international.
I know. So he's clearly got something about him. We just couldn't get it out of him. But for Force, it was really odd because he's not particularly tall, but he also didn't look particularly quick. So it was an odd one to try and play to a strength of because it didn't seem there was one which overpowered the other. It was just a bit bang average in everything.
Mm-hmm.
But, oh well.
Before we wrap up, I Like Coffee said, please beat Sunderland for us. He's a Newcastle fan. So
okay. When do we play Sunderland? When do we play Sunderland? Let me get my card out. Okay, just before Christmas and Good Friday. Okay, I'll bear that in mind. I'll have a word. I'll have a word with the manager.
I'm sure I Like Coffee will be happy about that. We'll wrap it up here. Thank you, Joe, for coming on. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Oh, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure having a chat to you as well. And well, I hope Shon succeeds, and I hope Tom Huddlestone does the job.
And best of luck as well for Hull in the Championship. Hopefully, we might see you soon in the Premier League.
Hopefully, that's the dream.
I suppose, yeah, it will be. Would you like to shout out your socials?
Yeah, definitely. So YouTube, you can find me, Old Grandpa Joe. Every Hull City match day, cover as much as I can. Apart from the next 5 games, because next 4 games after tomorrow, because I'm on holiday and trying not to get burnt in the heat of Tenerife with my ginger hair.
Plenty of sun cream then.
Yeah, plenty of sun cream. You know how it works. Instagram, you can find me old_grandpa.joe, and Twitter old_grandpa Joe. So yeah.
Great. I put your link in for your YouTube channel in the description below. So if you haven't already, go and subscribe to Old Grandpa Joe. I've watched some of the content. It's a great channel to watch. So
thank you.
Go and check it out. I haven't got no content scheduled in yet, but I will be doing a preview, hopefully for Brentford, and I'll try and do a transfer update and the Premier League predictions with John. So go and check that out. Hit that like button and subscribe, and also subscribe to Old Grandpa Joe. We'll see you soon. So goodbye for now.
See you later. Take care.